Hey, what's up guys? Irman here with Monstergadgets. Welcome to episode number 18 of Tutorial Thursdays, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you might be. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick update. Here is the Rebel T7. I just bought this yesterday, so if you're following me on Instagram, I'm sure you guys have already seen that. I posted it, but if not, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and give me a big thumbs up here. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how we can use the clone stamp tool in Adobe Photoshop. A few weeks ago, I did a tutorial on how to use the lasso tool by selecting an item that you want to be able to delete, using the content aware fill to basically magically make it disappear. If you haven't checked that video out, or if you're interested, I'll go ahead and card it here. You guys can go check that out. But today is going to be about how to clone stamp. And clone stamp is a very powerful tool. It can be used with the content aware fill feature to kind of fine tune things, or it could be used as a standalone. So let's go ahead and dive into Adobe Photoshop and I'll show you how you can use it. Here we are in Adobe Photoshop. So this photo is not my photo. It was sent to me by Colin at Tesla's Wild, so make sure you guys go check out his channel. He does some amazing work with his Model 3 performance, and I know I've mentioned him before on this channel, but you guys go check that out. Check him out. But this is his Model 3, and he's got this amazing shot of basically the storm coming in, and I'll show you guys what the final product was after I edited it. But I basically used the clone stamp tool as well as the content aware fill feature to get rid of everything in the background and make it look more subtle, a little bit more in the countryside with the storm coming, and I will show you guys that in a second here. So here is the final product, and here was the original photo. So you guys can see I got rid of pretty much all the wires, the cars, and just made it color graded a little bit to give it that look of the storm coming. But this was primarily done by, again, content aware fill, clone stamp, color grading, and a few other things. So let's go back to the original photo here, and a couple things we're going to do before we get started. Number one, we're going to go ahead and duplicate this layer. So go ahead and right click on it and go to duplicate layer, and yeah, we'll leave it as a background copy. Hit OK. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to create a blank layer. And the reason for that is because when we do the clone stamp, if something goes wrong, we basically just delete that whole layer. You don't have to worry about, messing up our original photo. So you want to go ahead and click on the clone stamp tool here, and it looks like a stamp. It kind of, gives that name. So go ahead and click on it. The one thing you want to make sure is you click on where it says sample, and you select on current and below. So that way it's sampling from the current layer as well as the layer that's below it. So let's use this stop sign as an example. So what we want to be able to do is we want to make this stop sign disappear. So once you got the clone stamp tool selected, what you want to do is you want to hit Option or Alt on your keyboard if you've got a Mac. So it's going to be Option, and we're going to basically select a sample that we're going to cover up the stop sign with. So go ahead and click Option and then click the mouse to go ahead and select that sample. The next thing you're going to do is going to come over the stop sign, and we're just going to go ahead and click it, and as you guys can see, that is starting to cover it up. Now you want to just carefully go ahead and go around it and click on it and basically replace that stop sign with the actual tree itself. Now there will be times where it might not work perfectly, and what you do is you basically just take a different sample to replace it. That way it blends in really well with the background. So as you guys notice, when I click and hold, you get that plus icon next to it, and what that's showing is showing that it's taking the sample from where you took it, that plus sign, and putting it around that brush, or in that brush I should say. So for example, if we got a sample from here, I'll go ahead and hit Option and we'll get a sample of the sky, and we bring it down here, that plus is going to be in the sky, and then what it's going to cover it up with will be down here. So basically it's painting the sky. We don't want to do that. We want to select whatever thing we're going to replace. You want to basically get a sample around it, so that way it kind of blends in and it looks like nothing ever existed there. So let's go ahead and do one more sample here. Let's just get rid of this pole right here. So we'll go ahead and sample here, and we'll go ahead and sample here and go ahead and replace it here. And as you guys can see, this is actually a perfect example. If I sample from a darker spot and I color it up here, well, that looks kind of weird, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do Command and Z, undo it, and if we select samples right around the object itself, it's going to make it look more real. So get a sample, cover it, sample, cover it, sample, cover it, sample, cover it. So that looks more realistic, right? It actually kind of blends in with the sky. The sky is the same color going across the top and the bottom, obviously darker from the bottom but lighter from the top, and that is a perfect example of how you can go ahead and just basically eliminate things just like that. Again, keep in mind, select samples that are closest to the actual object you're trying to replace. That way you're not going to make it look weird and it still kind of blends in. Even if you do it closely, if it's not blending in properly, you can always go back and change the opacity. You can make the opacity a little bit lighter, a little bit darker. That way you can mess around with the background or the surroundings and make it blend in without it looking like you actually altered it. So that's really about it. It's a simple tool, but it's a very powerful tool. And it does take a little bit more time because you're doing it more manually versus using the content aware fill, where you grab the lasso tool, you select it, shift delete, gone. That works great for bigger objects, but for something that requires a little bit more fine tuning, even after you use the content aware fill, you can use this and basically fine tune your work and make it look spectacular. I like that word. All right, so again, the end product really was this, just to kind of give you guys an idea. Again, it's very powerful. It does require some time, obviously, if you want to do it for a client or you want to do it for yourself, just fine tuning things, but the work is absolutely worth it because the results are absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and jump out of Adobe Photoshop. Alright guys, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Goodbye.